All right, good evening, everybody. Today is Thursday, October 13th, 2022. And tonight we are here with my associate, Donnie, and my name is Tad, by the way. And we are going to be talking about some inroads that we have made with credit repair and some incredible things that are going on. So, Donnie, why don't you take it away?
Thanks for having me tonight. I want to welcome everyone to the call. I love dealing with credit because in the world we deal with, everything is credit-based. Your insurance rates, whether you know it or not, they can pull your credit report. A lot of jobs, they can pull your credit, see how your credit is in order to hire you or not hire you. And if you're in the military, you cannot get promoted if you have negative things on your credit. And that's just the periphery. It doesn't include me and Tad and just simple consumers. The good part is that, like Tad said, we're making inroads. Every day is a learning day. The laws are pretty simple, but they're clear and they're concise. The bad news is that the credit bureaus are not our friends. If you've dealt with them, I'm not telling you anything, no shocking news story. And they've taken advantage of the pandemic. So we have a couple of roads. Sometimes the bureaus who are obligated to respond to us in 30 days take that with the mail service that's behind for the most part with the pandemic. Still, 45, 60 days response times. So it slows down what we're trying to do, and everyone, including me and all my clients, all tax clients, they want their credit done tomorrow, and I got it, I get it. But it just doesn't happen that way, unfortunately, with the bureaus, the pandemic, the post office. But we are making some serious inroads, and we got some really good things tonight I'm looking forward to sharing with the Taz audience.
All right. So where do you want to start?
If I can start with, first of all, everyone who's doing credit, if you're trying to do it on your own, I commend you. I want to share what I feel is one jewel is that you are a consumer. And you should research, if you're doing it on your own, if you don't choose to get someone involved, your consumer rights. And as a consumer, you have a lot of rights that you don't probably even know about. And so Congress gave us a lot of power as consumers because as consumers, we drive the economy. And so the Congress gave us a lot of power, a lot of authority, a lot of rights to drive the economy, and also to control our credit files, credit reports. If everyone has a pen, I'd like to give out one code tonight. Get a pen and paper, and then I got something a little special before the evening's over, before we wrap it up. Under Title 15 USC. Title 15 USC 1681 602 capital A. The right to privacy. The right to privacy. The right to privacy. 15 USC 1681 604A. A consumer reporting agency cannot furnish an account without my written instructions. So everyone in the call might try to digest that. Without your written instructions, the consumer reporting agency cannot divulge any of your personal information. So why do they do it, and why are they doing it? Because mostly overall, most consumers don't know that. The laws get even stronger if you research it, or if you call Tad and want to get him involved in cleaning your report, getting your credit in a positive financial situation. You got anything you want to interject there?
No, it sounds good. Keep going.
Okay. The right to privacy comes from the Constitution. Fourth Amendment. We have the right to be secure in our papers, our private papers. So Congress, and I love that, they stuck with the Constitution. They gave you, I, the right to keep our personal information private. So how do these agencies get away with, because we don't know, we're not challenging them on that. The first thing, if you're going to challenge them right and do your own credit, is to challenge them on, do they have your written permission somewhere in the files to publish your personal information. If they're publishing your information without your permission, how is that personal? If I filed a big bankruptcy and Experian is reporting it to anyone who pays them $39.95, I don't think that's too private.
Yeah, right.
Anyone who waves a dollar bill in front of them, they'll take, and they get my information. So the bureaus are not our friends. They are violating numerous consumer protection rights that Congress, God bless them, gave us. And we as consumers need to do our research, do our homework, and then apply it and hold them the feet to the fire. Tad and I, if you're on the call, we're working on some really good stuff for the future. 3-4 weeks, I hope to be back on the call for something that's going to be, we're looking to take this to a new level in credit repair, credit assistance. So everyone keep that in mind, that tonight, hopefully we can help you answer questions. Hopefully that one thing there, and I got a package that I want to send out. I'm going to send Tad a package. Anyone who's interested, he can email it to you. It's free of cost. Use it in your credit, your writings, to letters to the agencies. And if you want to go further or you want to get Tad involved, then you can email him back and let him take a look at your credit and see what we can do for you.
So the way to get in touch with me is to go to youhavetheright.com, go to the contact link, and send me a message. I actually have 2 contact links there. One is a messaging system, and the other at the bottom of the page is the actual contact link form, and you fill it out. So either way, it'll get to me. Just let me know that you're interested in the credit info, and then I'll send it out to you.
Yep. Tad, I have that in a couple of days. So give me a couple of days. Give me a couple of days to get it to him, and it will help you if you want it. Tad and I are very sensitive to people with money. Everyone's cost conscious. If you want to work on it yourself, we have no problem with that. We'll try to push you in the right direction if you're in the wrong direction. But if you don't want to do it yourself, I don't have the time, I have tried it on my own and gotten no results, that's what we do, and we'll review it with you at no cost, no obligation. And maybe you might want to come on board and let us work on your credit for you.
All right. So did we cover bankruptcies already?
No, we have not. That's a good question. Bankruptcies, I've been doing this about 6 years now, 5+ years. And 5.5 years ago, I could take a bankruptcy out pretty easily, to be very truthful. 90 days or so is pretty much standard. Today, everything changes. The laws change, Congress changes, everything changes. The credit bureaus, agencies are fighting us relentlessly not to take the bankruptcies off. But we do have the laws on our hands. We think it's going to be, if you have a bankruptcy and you are not been able to get it off, you need to get in touch with Tad, because in the future, that might be one of the best things that ever happened to you, that the bureaus are reporting a bankruptcy without your permission, without your consent. But right now, it is a challenge to get them off. I've taken some off. We've taken half off of people's reports, and they're still fighting on the other half. So if you do have a bankruptcy, you do have to be a little patient, but know and understand we can get you on the right side, of the positive side of your file. And we think we can really help people in the future with bankruptcies for it to be something that's positive instead of negative in their life.
All right. So can you go into maybe a little more detail about why it is that they cannot report bankruptcies?
Yes, absolutely. If you have a bankruptcy on your credit file, the number one thing is that the courts cannot report a bankruptcy to the credit agencies. By law, that would be a violation of the 1974 Privacy Act. Let's go back to privacy. Privacy, 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 privacy. And for everyone on the call, I want everyone to walk away with nothing else, privacy. So if I file a bankruptcy and the courts under the Privacy Act cannot report it to any of the agencies, Experian, TransUnion, Equifax. Okay, well, you have the right to have anything validated or verified under the Fair Credit Reporting Act codes. You can say, this is not my bankruptcy. Please verify this bankruptcy. I don't remember the bankruptcy. It could be another Donnie. It could be another Ted. It could be another Chris. They have the obligation under law to verify it or validate it. So if they're not getting the information from the courts, a person might wonder, where are they getting your information, if it seems to be yours, and putting it in your credit file? So we can fight them on that. We have many codes on that, but the number one thing, if you know anything about law, if you listen to Tad, you probably know a lot more, and third parties. They're getting it from third parties who cannot verify or validate your information. So this is what you want to fight them on. This is what you want to demand. And you're going to get a fight. It's a battle. They're violating your rights. And I recommend we like to set them up. We like to set them up for what we plan on doing with them by writing some letters. So what they're doing, they're violating every Privacy Right Act, every consumer. They violate about 15 to 20 consumer rights that you and I have. And unfortunately, they're not being held the feet to the fire by Congress.
All right. So let me ask you, if a bankruptcy is a public court proceeding, then how is it, if it's public, that the courts are restricted by the Privacy Act?
That's a great question. The courts, anything that is related to your Social Security number, any derivative of, and many times they'll say, well, just give me your last four of your Social Security. Any derivative of your Social Security number, the courts cannot disclose. Now, it is public information. If I want to go down and see if my sister filed a bankruptcy, my neighbor, that's public information. But that does not grant them the power to publish it, sell it, give you nothing for selling your information without your consent. Public domain and selling it, putting it in a file, a dossier, holding it that you and I, for the most part, don't know what's in there, is illegal and unethical.
All right.
There are a lot of agencies. We know basically about the big three. They've been around forever. Experian, TransUnion, Equifax. They've been around. They're the largest one. They're the beast in the jungle. But there are other agencies that are collecting information on you that most of us have never heard of in our lives. If you haven't heard of LexisNexis, call them up and tell them to send you a report on yourself. And you will be shocked at some of the stuff they have compiled on you. I called them about 20 years ago, and the stuff, they had me married 4 times and divorced. It was, I don't know where to get this stuff from. So they're compiling information on you. Everyone wants to compile information on you. Everyone wants your weighted signature for a reason. They're compiling information on us, and we have to challenge that. This is your private, personal information. And who gives them the right to go down get my information and sell it at a profit without telling me, without asking me. And then I don't get a percentage of what you sold.
Yeah, right.
What they're doing is, it's, to me, some of it's pretty much criminal.
All right. So is there anything else you want to say before we go to Q&A?
No, let's take some questions. Listen to people
All right.
and see if they have any questions. Yeah.
So if you have any questions for Donnie, hit *6 on your phone. There should be a little option, I think, *6, and then you press 1 or something like that. So, yeah, if you have any questions, hit *6 and then 1. Okay, you guys, don't be shy. I guess that's it.
Everyone is more than welcome to the package. Like I said, Pat, I'm going to get over to you. Anyone that emails you want to get it out to them. And then if they want to get you involved and getting their credit better, by all means.
All right.
The
so
next
I've got
call
one person that's...
I'm
sorry. I interrupted
you.
We have somebody that raised their hand. But go ahead. Say that. Say that again.
I just want to make sure everyone's on the next call we do, because we'll be able to basically take your bad credit and put money in your pocket for having bad credit. And I think a lot of people would like that.
Yeah. All right. So, Carolyn.
Yes, Donnie, I do agree with you because I've been doing a little studying because I do have a bankruptcy on my credit report.
Right.
And also, you're right. We have not given them consent to give out our Social Security number. And also, we should be able to file
They don't give out your Social Security number, but they're giving out a derivative information they give out is tied in to that Social Security number, which is illegal.
Which is illegal. And also,
you look at the credit report, it doesn't have your Social on there, but that is tied into your Social Security number.
Okay, I got you. And I also think that would be also considered identity theft.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
You're ahead of the game. So
yeah.
I would highly encourage you, if you've done that, to write the courts wherever you filed the bankruptcy and ask them at Experian or Equifax or TransUnion, contacted them about information on your bankruptcy. If you live in a small city, the courts will probably get back to you and write you a letter. A lot of times they'll do a dance. A lot of times they add a bunch of other junk in there. Yeah, we didn't give it to them, but they can do this. Keep it short and simple. In the bigger cities, if you live in L.A. or some of the bigger cities, the courts are just ignoring it, or they're giving all kind of frivolous answers that don't answer the question.
Yeah.
Now, when you do that...
I'm very much interested. Tab, I already sent you an email.
Yep, I got it.
Okay.
Well, we're glad you're on the call.
Thank you, Carolyn.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm going to push a button. I don't know what's going to happen. Let's find out. Okay. Oh, that just lowered your hand. But you didn't go away. There we go. All right. No, that's fine. We got it. Okay. Mary.
Hey, darling and darling, thanks for this call tonight. I found it, thank you, Tad, for introducing me to Donnie. I am working with Donnie, and it was really interesting because I had filed bankruptcy, and then the court said I didn't do the paperwork, so they just dismissed the bankruptcy. And it's going to be on my credit report, supposedly for the next 10 years. So Donnie's working with me to get that removed. But I just find it interesting that they, discharged it. I didn't even go through the bankruptcy, but it's going to
Right.
stick on my report for 10 years.
No, it won't.
So how? Well, no, I know. You and I know, and Donnie knows that. But what I'm trying to share with people is, if you're not going, if you don't know that, and if you're not going to, to have this conversation with Donnie, a lot of people are going to be messed up for 10 years. So, again, thank you so much for introducing me to him. And, yeah, he's a character, all right. So, have a blessed evening.
All right. Thank you, Mary.
I don't admit to that at all, but thanks for the call. Thanks for that,
Sure.
too, because the FCRA.
Hey, Donnie, real quick,
Yes,
your
sir.
microphone sounds like it's a bit muffled.
Okay, I don't know what that is. I'm trying not to move because I know the cell phone.
There you go, right there.
The FCRA, the first word for F is fair. Fair credit reporting. What is fair about Mary's situation?
Nothing.
She filed a BK, never went through it. It was dismissed. Why is it still on a report in a negative position? You can cite your credit information based on it's not fair. Now, you're not going to get very far with that based on fighting this is not fair, because it's not fair what they're doing from the beginning. But the first word in that act to protect consumers is fair, and there's nothing fair. And I've dealt with this with other clients like Mary, they dismissed the BK, withdrew the BK, never followed through on the BK, but then they still leave it on your report. So this is what you're dealing with the agencies, and this is what we fight and buttress, and hopefully turn lemons into lemonade.
All right. Thanks, Mary.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so let's see. So we have San Francisco. Somebody from San Francisco. Go right ahead. 415 area code.
Yeah, that would be me. My name is Deborah.
Hi, Deborah.
Good evening. Yeah, so I've got a question regarding the report. I don't have any bankruptcies, but I did think there was something in the news this year regarding, was it TransUnion? They caught them, I think they were being sued. They caught them dropping points of, people that had 800 credit score. They were, whatever the transaction they were going to do, they get, whoever they were dealing with, do a credit report, do a last swing of the credit report, and they come to find out they lost 10 points, and so they found out that, it was, underhanded. And so you've got that going on, and now reports are coming out and saying that they're manipulating these credit scores. So in my case, I took out a loan. It was a small loan with a company. We agreed to the terms. I signed the paperwork. When they sent me a notice to make the first payment, I made the first two payments, maybe the third payment. And then I went back and said, you need to go back and read the terms of your agreement. Come to find out, the points was a lot higher. The agreement term was increased. I told them what date that I'd like to have the payment. They split it up to 2 days. So instead of me paying one payment for $40, I end up having to pay $106. So I immediately start calling the company, and I've been on the horn. We're going to get a supervisor to you. Hang on the line. They will hang up. And this went on for a great 6 months. Every day I had a different person. They claimed they put it in the note. No one ever saw the note. They didn't know who the guy. This financial company, come to find out, is in Mexico. I had a lot of problems with the English. I said, look, I can't understand. Do you have an English counterpart? I signed up in San Francisco, but all the calls went to Mexico. I said, wait a minute. You guys seems like you set up a front when the entire operation is out of Mexico. I said, because when I call a 415 number, how does it end up in Mexico? Well, the office might be closed. I said, it can't be. It's 1:00 p.m. in San Francisco. They're not closed. I've been to the office. You're open from 8 to 8 p.m. No matter what time of day or night, it goes directly. I said, there's something wrong with this, absolutely. So I said, so they said, well, I need you to send me everything by email. Oh, we can only communicate with you either by phone or email. We can't do both. I said, I'm sorry, I got a problem with that. And then they would tell me, I said, so they leave a voice message and they said, we have a personal business, we have a personal relationship we'd like for you to call. I said, well, you need to tell me who you are because I get thousands of these spam calls. Oh, we can't say that either. Okay, wait a minute. You can't say that you are from Opportune, you're here to call about my late payment or whatever. No, we can't say that. We can't even say the word we're collecting the debt. I said, hold up. What's going on here? So they have now reported me with all the bureaus saying that I've never made any payment. And I'm thinking, I said, I've called every single day, been on the phone. Every time I call them, I spend a minimum of 3 hours. I have been billing. I need to speak to a supervisor. Call there. We don't have a supervisor. We'll give it to the top guy. And I've had to run around. Now they've reported me against the bureau. And my score went from 750. I'm now down looking at 450, my credit score.
How much?
450. I went from 750 down to 450 just because of what they did.
Wow.
I've never known that you can take such a jump like that. It was absolutely amazing. The other thing
I'd like to look at that. I haven't seen one do that on one account. Take that.
I have never seen it done like that either. And I was just kind of shocked. I was like, wow, where do I go with this? And then I had an account with my bank that I've been doing business with. I took out 3 small loans, paid it all off, and they turned around and said, okay, the account is closed. Then I took another ding for that. And so I called the credit bureau. They said, oh, you got to call the bank because the bank did that. I said, because people thinking that I closed the account out, and I didn't. And they says, well, we only reported at Experian that is in good standing. I says, no, the first thing everybody sees is 3 closed accounts at once. I was told you're supposed to let me know you do this. Oh, no, we don't have to do that. Yes, you do. And I says, well, I need you to, remove the closed account and put, hey, it's, the loan was satisfied. No, we're not doing that. You go to the credit bureau. I said, the credit bureau told me you did it. You have to fix. So it's like they intentionally seems to ruining us.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of work to having to deal with who said this. And the credit bureau says, well, no, we don't do it. We just report it. Well, who gave it to you to report? So there's a lot of steps here. So what is, I like doing my own work because I like, at this point I've trusted other people to handle my credit and come to find out years later it never got resolved. So I spent out a lot of money. And so I'm kind of one of these individuals. I like to be hands-on because I need to know, I've got to be, armed with the right tools to address that issue. So what would be the best, step moving forward to get this resolved, and how quickly you think I could get this resolved?
The best step, first of all, the mistake you're making is to call them without recording. Anyone on the call, if you call a lender or a bank, you never call them without recording the call. Now, they would tell you a lot of times, we are recording you, Donnie. But then later, especially in litigation, those calls disappear.
That's right. That's true.
If they call you and record you, you record them when you call. That's your first mistake. Next, everything should be in writing because you want to create a paper trail.
Right.
You can write
and they refuse to do so.
Well,
they have
and then you should refuse to do business with them. And I would suggest we do have lawyers and staff. You can check with Tad that we can help you. You're in California, so you're the laws are favorable. I'm very, that's where I am, so we know most of the laws here. But I would check with Tad, and there's things you can do. You're dealing with a pretty terrible company. I haven't heard about one that bad in a while, but it's not undoable. But the first thing is that you do need to get something in writing. You might want to find out where their headquarters is, and you just write them. You send them a certified letter. Everything's certified mail. You want to create a paper trail. We want to make sure that they get it and You can't give them a time period. If you do not respond within the next 10 days, you default. Okay.
See, I did ask where their headquarters were. I said, because all your calls going in Mexico. And they said, we have a headquarters in.
Okay, well, then go to the Secretary of State website and see if they're registered to the business state of California or whatever state you said they have an office in. Okay? You're beating your head up. Yeah, so you put a lot of energy. You just got to do it a little better. That's all. San Francisco, California, you go into California, you're up to the near Sacramento. You could drive over there for an hour or so to the state capitol if you want it. I just say go on the website, Secretary of State website, find out who they are, see where they're headquartered, if they're located to do business in California. They might not be registered. I have a company right now down in San Diego that are not registered to do business in the state. So how can they put anything bad on your credit report or anything else if they don't have permission to do business? So you've got a lot of good things going. You just have to just channel it a little bit more. But without a paper trail, there's nothing, if you want to send the reports over to Tad, I'd be more than happy to take a look at them. Anything that's on your report you can get off, you can get off. That's not the issue. But what they would probably come after you for the debt, and that's still in California. That's the least of your worries. But your thing is to get your credit report back up to where it was. Okay.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Because I'm really taking a hit now. Because anybody look at what?
I would send them a debt validation letter, and then wait and see if you get a response, and make sure you give them a time period, 10 periods or so, to get back to you on it. And if they write you back. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. I was going to say write it back and see what they have to say.
Now, the bank put
go ahead, ma'am.
3 closed accounts on me, even though those counts, each of those, I paid in full, and it was satisfactory. I had no late, but that's still hurting me because, and I have to explain that to everyone. I didn't abruptly close those accounts.
Do not call them. You want to create a paper trail.
Okay.
They will tell you anything. We can do this. We can do that. Put it in writing, okay? And we know what we can do. These things called adverse. I'm going to give everyone out here adverse action letters. We have those. When the company takes an adverse position like closing your account, you can write them an adverse action letter, or we can write them, Tad can write them an adverse action letter. Okay. But that's something you do not call these people. That's a waste, and you're going to get the people who are undertrained, underpaid, and couldn't give a care less. Okay? So you want to create a paper trail, put them on the clock. You don't give them 30 days because this is an issue that's affecting you. So you can give them 10 days, you can give them 5 days.
Okay.
Okay, and you want to, if you do not respond within 5 days, then by default you are acquiesced. Silence is acquiescence, and you agree that you're in default. I do not owe you, or my payments are on time and timely. You're reporting this inaccurately.
Okay.
Okay, and then start with the Secretary of State, and then if they're not registered to do business in the state of California, you might want to write to the Secretary of State and let these people know what they're doing. And they're not registered. That means they're evading taxes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So that means they're not only abusing the clients, they're abusing the state. So, and I would probably say they're not registered to do business in the state.
Good. I will send an email to Tad in the morning, and we can go from there. And thank you so very kindly for.
Don't miss our next call. Yeah, next time around. And I want to say this to you and anybody else. Tad, I'm sorry, I almost forgot this. With your call, it brought this to my mind. Anyone who's dealing with a debt collector, that's probably your best friend, whether you know it or not. If you're in California, I got a guy who debt collector took him to court. He won the battle. The debt collector actually withdrew the lawsuit. He sued the debt collector. They offered him $5,000. He told them he wanted $20,000. We do have people around this country, so for different states, we don't have people in every state. We don't know all the laws, unfortunately. But you can do your own research. Debt collectors, when they come after you, anyone who's dealing with a debt collector, if you're not sure, call Tad. Email Tad. But when a debt collector comes after you, wants to take you to court, Most of your state's laws are the same. They're very powerful. If you're in New York, you hit the lottery because they changed the laws in January. New York is a debt collector cannot even. I don't even know if they can wave at you in New York. If you're dealing with a debt collector, you should not be stressing out and worrying and all that going to court. You just have to, if you have to do your own homework, or find somebody who's used to dealing with a debt collector in your state. So, young lady, you're here in San Francisco. I wouldn't worry about these. The biggest thing is getting your credit back up and dealing with these clowns later.
Well, she's already gone. She got disconnected.
Oh, no, but yeah, hopefully she still listens. Yes,
sure. All right, so does anybody else have any questions? If not, we're going to close it out. So we'll give them about a minute or so for somebody to hit *6. *6 if you have any more questions. So, yeah, if you want to... Okay, so, Larry, go right ahead.
Yeah.
We can barely hear you. Get right up to the microphone, sir. We can barely hear you.
Okay, is that any better?
Oh, my God, that's better. Go right ahead.
Okay, I have 4 collection letters, and it seems like every time I get a new one, it has a different date on it. What can be done about that? Because actually, I was about ready to send them the money to just go ahead and settle it.
There's several things you can do about it. I don't tell people, I'm not a financial consultant. I'm certainly not a lawyer. I would never tell a person to pay a bill or not to pay a bill. That's not my
Right.
system. Can I ask what state you're in?
I'm in Texas.
Okay, you're in Texas. Okay. I would suggest have you written them a letter of debt validation to validate the debt?
No, not yet. No.
Okay. That's usually you have 30 days. I would overnight them or always get certified. You have to create a paper trail, and they have to prove their case. So you want to write them a letter for every a debt validation letter. Tag can do it, or you can do it. You can get. There's some online. I don't recommend them, but there, for people who are cost conscious, I got it. You write them a debt validation letter. You give them X amount of days to respond, just like I was trying to tell the young lady before you. Okay, and they will respond. Sometimes they'll send you 30 pages. Let's say I've been with Chevron 30 years, and I fall behind, and now it's down at debt collection. What they do, the real jerks, I'll say, validate this debt. They'll send me 30 years of statements to validate. That's not debt validation.
Wait. They'll send you what?
I've had them. I've written lenders letters. Wow. They validate this debt. And they will send me a 3, 4, 5-inch stack of papers.
Okay.
What I do, I just send it right back to them, and I put on there, this is not debt validation, because nothing in that stack of papers is debt validation. Debt validation is. Beg pardon? Go ahead. So what I'm trying to tell you is that you write them a debt validation letter, and 99% of the time they're going to write you back and say, here's the papers that validate your debt. That's not debt validation. What you did, you opened the paper trail. Okay? So the next thing we can do, we can do several things. We can send them a notice of, we can go into attack with them or something like that. But that's your first thing. Write them a debt validation letter. Do your research and understand what debt validation is. Debt validation is something with your wedding signature, and you have to agree with it, with the lender or whoever. That is you and your signature and your debt. If you forgot it, if it doesn't look like, if they're off a penny, so understand, if it's a debt collector, 99% of the time they cannot validate the debt. With a lender, it's almost the same, but it's a different way you have to attack the lender. But the debt collector,
Well, should I contact the credit bureaus as well?
No, for it. You want it off your report? If you're sending your report, yes.
Oh, okay. So send a letter to the credit bureau and then also the collection agent.
You can ask. You can challenge anything on your credit report. It depends on how. Like you can challenge it, and it's not fair to put it out there. If you did you catch the beginning of the show where I read 15 USC?
Yes. Uh-huh.
You can write them and say, do you have my permission to put this in my credit file?
Okay.
My written permission. Okay. These are some of the things you do. We do stuff that, that we've been testing over the years, so we have different ways, different letters, stuff like that. I'm just telling you what you can do on your own without our help. If you want us to get involved, please call Tad.
Okay. If I want to get involved, did you say Tad?
Yes,
if
that's
you want
me.
us to get involved.
Okay.
YouHaveTheRight.com.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for your help.
All right, thank you.
The first thing you want to do is send them a debt validation letter, and then you want to send a letter to the bureaus. You can tell them to validate the debt. You can challenge it on fairness. You can say, this is identity theft. I don't remember. I don't know these people. They are making a claim that you owe. They have to prove it.
Right.
If you do it right, they cannot prove it.
Okay.
All right? We appreciate you coming on the call. Don't miss the next one we have, okay? All right.
Oh, I will.
Thank you.
you.
Okay, so hold on here. I gotta clear that out. Okay, Beryl.
Okay, thank you again for this call, Tad and Donnie. I first want to say that they do not always respond. I have done debt validation letters on 3 fraudulent foreclosure attempts. They all succeeded, the foreclosures did. None of them were valid. None of them had any paperwork in the chain of title. And so one was on my home, my folks' home, and my son's home. And I did all of those. So when they do not do plus, I had a credit score of 862 that after I did the one for my folks' home here in Kansas City, Missouri, it went down to 4 something. I think it's now 5 something. Still very low, but so when they do not respond, this is one of my questions. What do you do then? And they took it to court, and the court, even though I said that and I submitted the certified copies of the letters to the court ignored them and gave them the foreclosure.
Okay. When you're dealing with foreclosure, you're dealing with a different beast. Unfortunately, you dealt with them. The court, I'm going to give you my opinion, one person's opinion. The courts and the banks are in bed together.
In collusion.
Yes.
They're in collusion.
Absolutely. If you were to Google courts, banks, it's the same thing in a lot of dictionary translations. The court is the bank, the bank is the court. Okay. So
I'm
going into the court battling most issues like that. First of all, when you send them a letter, you have to give them if you don't tell them respond by this, and if you don't put in there, you're going to default, and by silence, it doesn't mean anything. Because if you expect them to say, they just, even the credit bureaus, when we write them, half the time they don't respond. So that's when we still have to stay on top of it and make sure we get things done. But when you're dealing with that monster, you're dealing with a different beast, and there's a whole different way to fight them. Okay? Has nothing to do with what you're doing with your credit report. Yeah.
Okay. So I think what you said was, you're going to repeat it for me because you said a number of things. My debt validation letters. My request for debt validation. It was sound letters. I passed it through by a number of people, and it was to the point and everything that it says about debt validation. So the point, they just ignored it. The court just ignored them, even though I did the follow-up and all that. So you said that these fraudulent foreclosures, again, and the French word for bench, referring to court, is bank, which means bank. So that's what a court is. The judge is on the bench, he's on the bank. But anyway, so what you're offering and these letters that start out with that
with foreclosure,
they really can't help in this situation.
Mm-hmm. With foreclosure, we don't deal with foreclosure. I can try to point you in a better direction. When they come to foreclose on your house, my house, or anyone's house, it is a debt collector. You're in Missouri, if I heard you correctly.
Yes, that's where one of the fraudulent foreclosures was done.
I would look under your debt collection laws in Missouri, and that's how you fight them. You do not fight a foreclosure, you fight the debt collector. Because as a consumer, you have all the power against a debt collector. Okay? Once the home defaults, it goes from being a positive to a debt, and the laws have been consistent. It is now a debt, and they are debt collectors. So they fall under every debt collector protection. In California, we have the Rosenthal Act, and then there's our titles and codes for federal laws. And as debt collectors, fight them under debt collectors. Okay, if you fight them under foreclosure laws, you're probably going to get your hand, as you've seen, in the disappointment and the stress and talking to a judge who couldn't give a care less.
I did that. I did that on Washington State with my home. I looked up all the debt collection stuff, and I presented it to the court. It didn't make one bit of difference.
You don't represent it to the court. You have to counter sue, and then you can do things with the debt collectors. We're getting a lot of stuff done.
I did it first with the debt collector. And so, but I'm just giving you some history that what you're saying.
So, Burrell,
wait a minute. I have a question.
We're kind of getting off target here.
I have another. Wait a minute. I have another question with regard to what he said. Okay, thank you. So I got that, but I'm just giving you some history there. Also, I did bankruptcy both in Washington State and in Missouri, and both of those are showing on the credit report. And the reason I did the bankruptcy was for the automatic stay on the foreclosures, which doesn't matter. They were both bankruptcies. Both are showing, and so I took notes about what you were saying, but I need for you to report the 2 U.S. Code 15 and 16 that you first started out with. Could you repeat those section numbers?
Sure. 15 USC 1681 602A like Apple.
Okay. 15 USC 602.
No, 1681.
1681. Okay.
602A like Apple.
What's that? It's another section?
602A. It's a subsection. A is subsection of 602. A, B, C, D, A.
15 USC 1681A 602.
602A.
Okay. 15 USC 1681 section
602A.
Section 602A. Okay. And the other one?
15 USC 1681 1604A.
Okay, so I have, are you saying 1-5 for the first one and 1-6, or it's a 1-5 in both instances?
1-5.
15-1-5 USC Section 1681, Section 602A, and 15 USC also Section 1681.604A. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Thank you very
With
much.
foreclosures, I have a 20-year history of foreclosure, so we know foreclosure, we know the issues. I'm telling you, the issues, unless you fight it a different way, you're never going to have success. Okay? That's all I can tell you without going, like I said, we'll be on the phone 3 hours. So good luck. Stay in touch with Tad. If you have any other questions, by all means, please give him a hit on the email, okay? Thanks for listening.
Thanks, Burrell. Okay, so Aaron, go ahead.
Hi. I just was wondering, when you're writing letters to the credit bureaus or any of these debt collection agencies, are you writing it to a person, a CEO, a CFO, or are you writing it just to the company itself?
If you can sign out the CEO.
Okay, so are you on a speakerphone?
I was, but I'm off now.
All right, thanks.
If you can sign out the CEO of these companies, that's fine. When they write you a letter, they either don't sign it or they give you a name that's a fictitious name because there's a liability issue there. So it's very hard to hide who they are. So if you can find out the CEO of the company and write it directly to, I know people have done that and got great success. With the credit agencies, it's going to be a little different. You can find out who the CEOs are, but there's, the board. They got 20, 30 people on the board. I would just send it in and, and make sure you do it return receipt. And that puts them on the clock, and make sure you put it on the clock and keep documentation.
Yeah, so something like a conditional acceptance, essentially, right? Where you're basically saying, like, yeah, I accept it if you can show proof of the debt or proof of, validate the debt, right? That's what you were talking about?
Absolutely. Validate the debt.
Okay.
Give out something else. Ask for an accounting ledger.
Okay.
Accounting ledger, and you want someone to sign that they did an accounting ledger on your alleged debt.
Okay, got it. And now for me, I'm not dealing with anything as serious as bankruptcy or collections yet, but I'm working on having some debts discharged, and I'm writing some letters. I'm using the postal rule. I'm trying to keep all the proof that I need. But my credit score has been affected because some of these payments they're not accepting, and the balances are getting high on some cards. So my credit score has dropped from 800 down to about 700 in a very, very short order, which was a little surprising because I'm not technically delinquent on anything yet. So I'm not even really sure exactly why, but I wanted to find out if you can give advice on what's the best way to start the process of finding that out and then correcting my credit file appropriately.
Of finding what out?
Well, figuring out what, I guess, why they're lowering my score.
Okay.
What was that?
Let me explain to you how they work. One of the ways they work. They're not our friends. Okay.
Right.
If you have a high score like what you had and you miss one late payment, they can drop your score 73 points for one late payment. Now,
right.
If you had a 16 and you had 3 late payments, they might drop your score 20 points. What's fair about that? If you go out,
that doesn't make any sense.
And buy something tonight or a Visa card, get approved for a Visa card today. A $10,000 Visa, they put it on your report the next day that you now have an obligation of $10,000. Now, if you want to take and pay that same Visa off the next day, how long do you think it'd be for them to reflect that on your credit bureau?
Oh, month?
Yeah. Is that fair?
No.
Yeah, that's what you're up against. So, yeah, with that high score, it's great. I commend you for that. The reason, if you miss a half a payment with that high score, they're going to kill you. So you got to really fight these people, and because you need that high score back. Okay, that's you're in the higher upper echelon. That's a tough one to get to.
So I should would it be safe to say that I should start by like getting a full copy of my credit report from each of the 3 major agencies and then writing them all letters saying like that they need to provide proof that they had my written permission to collect my data?
That would be a start, absolutely. You do. I would put other things in there. I would challenge the late. Okay. I always recommend my people go to Experian because they give you all 3 reports. Credit Karma is free for a reason. They're not very accurate. I'm not a big fan of Credit Karma. They report earlier than the other bureaus, so you can tell something is happening on your reports, but sometimes I see them be very, very, very inaccurate on reporting. So I recommend you go to Experian, all 3 of your reports. You can look and see what's going on, what they're reporting. And certainly, you want to start with the people who are reporting it also. You want to make them validate that you're late and challenge them.
So write letters to the credit cards that are doing the reporting also.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Make sure.
Okay, so all of the above.
You want to create a paper trail.
Right.
All right. With these people, you have in a good position. If you've been with them 5 or 10 years, they don't want to lose you as a customer. Hopefully, they don't want to make you mad. So you have a lot of leverage there. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Good luck to you. If you need any other help, Tad is the engineer.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you.
Good luck to you.
Okay. We got one more. Karen.
Hi, gentlemen. Thank you. My name's Rocky. This is just a yes or no question. I'm curious about researching if there is any case law that you're aware of where this type of enforcement has been successful. If you don't know, that's okay. But if you do know, I'd like to take a look at it myself.
Case law on what?
Where these that USC code was enforced in favor of whoever brought the claim.
I will do this for you. If you contact CAD, I will give you a case law on anyone who wants a case law on against the credit agencies, and it's very powerful, and it intertwines with the code. Now, understand what you're dealing with. You're dealing with people who are vogue, who are doing illegal acts already. So do you really believe that because you put one code before them that they're going to do it? I'm trying to be realistic with you, your audience. No, you have to add other things. There's other things you can add in there. That's why I said I got a nice little package. I'm going to give you 5 codes if you contact Tad later. He'll have the next couple of days. He'll email it out to you. This is our gift to you guys for coming on, listening, supporting us. We appreciate the calls. We appreciate your support. I have a court case, FTC versus TransUnion versus FTC, I think it is. And I'll be more than happy to give it a Tad and get it out to you. Make sure you, anyone who wants it. And then if you have a follow-up question, please get in touch with Tad. I'll be more than happy to work with you because I understand where you're going with that. Okay?
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I will.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, that'll do it for tonight. Donnie, thank you very much for being here, and all of you that have joined us tonight, thank you very much for joining us. And if you want to learn more, if you want to get involved, go to youhavetheright.com and go to the contact link and contact me, and we'll get back in touch with you and go over your particular situation. So, all right,
Pat,
Donnie.
you're the man. I appreciate it. Have a great evening. Thanks for
all
everybody
right,
calling.
you too. Okay, everybody, thanks for joining us, and good night.
Bye-bye.